None is a special object in Python that represents the absence of a value or a null value. It's Python's way of saying nothing here or no value assigned. None is often used as a placeholder or default value, especially when a function or method does not return any meaningful result. It can also be used to initialize variables or parameters to indicate that they have not yet been assigned a value. None is a singleton object in Python, meaning there is only one instance of it in memory. Any variable assigned none points to the same object. None is not the same as 0, false, or an empty string. Each of these represents different concepts in Python. None is a keyword in Python and is written as is, without quotes. It is case-sensitive, so it must be written exactly as none, with a capital N. Here's a simple example to illustrate. X equals none. Print X. When we run this code, it prints none. This signifies that the variable currently doesn't hold any value. When comparing the none, we can use the equality operator as we would with other data types. However, it is highly recommended to use the as operator instead, while the output of both operators is often the same. Using the equality operator for none can sometimes cause unexpected behavior. The as operator checks for identity, meaning it verifies if two references point to the same object. Since none is a singleton, there is only one none object, making the as operator the most accurate way to check for none. Using is for comparison enhances code readability and clearly expresses intent. It indicates that we are checking for identity, not equality, which helps anyone reading the code understand our intention. Using none as a default value for variables is a common and effective practice. When we declare a variable without assigning it a value, Python automatically initializes it to none. This allows us to define variables before having actual data assigned. For instance, we start by setting the variable temp to none, which indicates that temp currently has no value. Then, we print temp. Next, we reassign temp to the string something and print temp again. Using none is a great way to initialize a variable when we don't yet have a value for it. Later on, we can assign an appropriate value when it becomes available. This approach keeps our code clean and avoids potential errors that might arise from using uninitialized variables. In Python, every function has a return value. If a function does not explicitly return a value using a return statement, it implicitly returns none. This behavior ensures that every function call results in some value, even if that value is not useful. Let's break down this code. This line defines a function named myFunction. This function doesn't perform any actions except returning none when called. Here, myFunction is called. Since myFunction is designed to return none, the variable result will hold the value none. This line prints the value of result, which is none. This demonstrates how none can be used as a return value in Python functions, indicating that the function doesn't have a meaningful value to return. The function's return value can be determined by replacing return none with pass, which will yield the same result, representing a none value. We will explore this function in more detail later. By setting a parameter's default value to none, we can check whether the caller has provided an argument or not. This is especially useful for optional parameters, allowing the function to behave differently based on whether an argument was supplied. Consider this example. This line defines a function named myFunction that takes one parameter, name. The parameter name has a default value of none. This means that if no argument is provided when the function is called, name will automatically be set to none. The function returns the value of the name parameter. This could be either the value passed to the function or none if no value is provided. Here, myFunction is called without any arguments. Since no argument is provided, name defaults to none. The function executes and returns none, which is then printed to the console. In this line, my function is called with the argument Amelia. The parameter name receives the value Amelia instead of defaulting to none. The function executes and returns the string Amelia, which is printed to the console. This code snippet effectively demonstrates how to define a function with an optional parameter in Python using none as a default value. It illustrates the flexibility of functions in handling both cases, when an argument is supplied and when it is not, allowing for cleaner and more versatile code. None in Python is a versatile placeholder. It's frequently used as a default value for function parameters, to initialize variables, and to signal the absence of a value or an error condition. Understanding when and where none is used can greatly enhance your ability to write clear and robust Python code.